you guys will actually distribute that through. Because remember, we don't want to just bring in the power of 2. We want to expand it and distribute it in, right? And tell me what those 3 are. You 3 rows, I'm going to have you do these guys. I know I gave you the fraction, but it's okay. You're talking. And what I'm trying to do here, in the end, we're going to look for a pattern. Okay, so really quickly, you 3 rows, 1, 2, 3, are going to be these 3. Priscilla, Zach, and Alex's row, going to be the far left one. We're just going to expand them out. What is x plus 1 squared? Remember, that's x plus 1 times x plus 1, right? Good. Put on the whole one. Yeah. Your brother doesn't like being here in the morning, I don't think. Do you have to drop him off? No. Mom does? You don't have to do that representative yet. I'm going to move on just because of time's sake. All right, Zach, what you got on this one, bud? That's good. Okay, everybody get the next one? Connor? Okay, same? Good. Okay. We'll do this one. See, you can do it without looking at your paper. You just think you might have picked it up. Good. Either you the hard one.
I can do that.
Maddie. Oh, you didn't do that one. Brittany. X plus 3 squared. Did you do it? Did you do it? Okay, Juliana, go. All right. There's a pattern. Okay. Do you see the pattern? If you'll notice, this is a binomial squared. Every single one of them, right? Okay, and if you'll notice, how do we get from x to the x squared? You're squaring it. Make sense, everybody? Then, how do I get to this 2x? It's taking this number and multiplying by itself, right? That's how taking this number, multiplying by itself, is there. Oh, excuse me. Did we jump? Yes.
Yeah,
1, 2, 3.
No one.
Okay, here we go. Let's go to 2x. How do we do that? Well, we take this value and we double it. Okay, so if you negative, negative 5 times 2 is negative 4. Negative, how do we get our third number? We take the last number and square it. You guys see how that's a pattern on every single one? I don't know why they do. Each teacher does their own way. I just asked Miss Christensen how she taught it. I really didn't like her way, but whatever, we each have our own. Right? Now the reason being is I would like us to see something. So really quickly, let's just do a generic form. Because b could be any value, couldn't it? It could be any negative thing, good thing. How would we do this then? What would it be? Plus 2bx, good. Plus b squared. That's our generic form. Okay? So what if I gave you just the opposite? What is b? X plus 4 squared. We're going to go backwards. So notice I gave you this, and I want you to go here. Does that make sense? We're taking, this is called a perfect square trinomial, meaning it goes back into a binomial squared. Okay? And it has this pattern. How do I know it's x plus 4, Tyler? How did you get to that? divide it by 2, and then take the square root. If I divide this by 2, what do I get? 4, and if I do 4 squared, do I get 16? Did it follow this pattern, basically? So this is x plus 4 squared. Yes. If you recall from the previous pattern, notice double times it by x, double times it by x, double times it by x. That's all I'm doing. Does that make sense? So going back to here, this is more generic, double times it by x. Answer your question. Now, when I'm doing this one, I'm actually saying what number is being doubled to get to 8? 4. And what number is being squared? Hence. Answer your question. Okay, so let's do this one. It's a little bit crazier because it's fractions, right? And then you get like, how'd you go? Hey, are you going to be gone tomorrow? Down in St. George. I know where you're going, but I didn't know if it's in Southern. I think it's funny. Pretty never. Are you? I thought she was from an indoor pool, Miss Austin. Because it's so many people, you just stay outside. Yeah. Hey, how about this one? This one's a little bit more intense, isn't it? Just because it's a fraction, and you're like, true fraction, that's what you're saying. I see it in everybody's eyes, especially Mark's, because they're going to kill him. Okay, what's half of negative 3 halves? Negative 3/4. Is negative 3/4 squared become 9/16? So that's our number. One thing I would always try is take the square root first. Square root of 3 squared out of 64, that's 3/4. Is that half of negative 3 halves? So this would be x minus 3 halves squared. So we got the pattern down, do you believe? Because if you don't have the pattern, then the rest of the day is going to suck. Sniper. Ben didn't get me on that one. Ben, what the hell? That's your job. Okay? That would be great. Okay, so let's do one now. So let's solve it. So first off, let me actually get to solving just in general. If I have 3x squared equals 48, let's just do some basic solving. How do I solve this? Do I square root now? Why not? I got to get x squared by himself before I can do this. Right? So I'm going to divide it, and I get x squared equals 16. Okay, then what? Now I square root, so what's our answer? If you did that, I'd give you a half. You remember why? Plus or minus. Whenever I physically, me personally, is there any square roots on here ever before? Yes or no? When I physically take the square root, me personally, I have to do plus or minus. Because negative 4 squared also gets me 16. So there's both options. 4 squared gets me 16, and negative 4 squared gets me 16. There's both options. Now, if it was just, what's the square of 16? 4. Because that was already given to us. The square was there. I physically didn't have to write that. Does that make sense to me? That was the problem. Kind of like number 5 of the bell curve. Did you guys physically have to write the square root of negative 54? No, it was given to you in that way. Does that make sense to everybody? Okay. You physically, personally, have to do it there. That's when you do plus or minus. You have to do it on a cube root? No, because the answer can come out positive or negative. So anytime you have an even root, plus or minus. I'm going to write that in your notes. Anytime you have an even root, you want to go ahead and do a plus or a minus. So, let's get a little bit more. What the hell that was. We got a lot of fives there. That's just a parenthesis, by the way, not a parenthesis. So it's 5 parentheses x plus 5 squared equals 1.5. You know where that is in your head without using that machine? No, it's just a parenthesis. It started as a square root, then I'm like, screw that, I don't need that. What do we do first? You know, Miss Hudson? You do, because you want to get whatever is squared by itself. If I even had a plus 3 here, I'd subtract the 3 first, divide by the 5. Everybody with me there? Get the something squared by itself. Okay, so now I'm at x plus 5 squared equals 25. Now, right now, I'm being nice to you guys and giving you a nice answer. Are they always going to be nice? Probably not. How do I get rid of a squared? I physically take the square root. When I personally do that, what needs to happen? Plus or minus. So now I have x plus 5 equals plus or minus 5. Okay? Then I subtract it. Is that a final answer? Negative 5 plus or minus 5? Because I know what negative 5 plus 5 is. What is it? 0. Negative 5 plus 5 is 0. Negative 5 minus 5. Negative 10. So that's what x equals those two options. A lot of people consider the first option because they forget the plus. Okay? Gotta remember that. That's a big deal. Whenever you physically take a square root or an even root, you have to do plus or minus. Okay? So let's go on to kind of what we're studying today. This is still stuff we're studying, but completing the square, right? So let's go here. X squared plus 6x plus 9 equals 16. Now there's many different ways to spin this out. What is the left side called? It's a perfect square trinomial, right? How is this a perfect square trinomial? Well, what's half of 6? 3, and is 3 squared? 9. Yeah. So what does this become on this side? Good. X plus 3 squared. You guys all agree with Jamie? That's just in a different representation, but it's the exact same thing because of our pattern that we noticed at the beginning of class, right? Okay, now what? Now it's just like those problems I just barely did, right? Where I take the square root. Why am I doing plus or minus 4? Because I am physically taking the square root, right? Me personally, I'm physically taking it. Now what? Don't even. You guys did that last time too. Still on a roll. So I have x equals negative 3 plus 4, 1, negative 3 minus 4, negative 7. Okay? Making sense? Is everything though in the world a perfect square trinomial? That's where we really okay? I'm making these up, so well, I guess and they're not. Whoa, whoa, here we go. That's mine, or is that yours? Mine? You scare me every damn time. I don't know if you're selling my book or not. You never sell. You're not. I'm glad you don't. I think don't be one of those values. Really digital bikers. Where the hell am I? Okay. And guys, understand, could I factor this? Factors of 8 that give me to 2. What are they? Factors of 8 that can give me to 2. 2 and 4. I could factor this, right? But we're learning a new way. On your test, it might say, do this by this method. If you don't do it by this method, am I going to give you a point? So even though I could factor this and solve this, I want you to do it by the specific method designated. Does that make sense? We're going to do this by completing the square. Is this perfect? Is this a perfect square trinomial? No. It's not right now, is it? Because what's half of 2? 1 and 1 squared should be 1. It's not 1. But I can make it 1. Okay, here's what we're going to do. I'm going to add 8 to both sides. Ladies and gentlemen, what needs to fill that spot to make it a perfect square trinomial? We just said it. 1. 1. Is it a perfect square trinomial now? So can I always go around adding 1s wherever I want? Yes, I can. If you do what, though? Have to keep it balanced, so I need to add it to the other side.
Oh, okay. Because I was like, isn't it?
So like, for example, if I wanted this to be a 1, how do you make a negative to a 1? Add 9 to both sides. Yeah, I put it in result because negative 8 plus 9 is what? 1. 0 plus 9 is. Now, I personally don't like to do that because this is just very straightforward. Yes, no, maybe so. Everybody with me? Any questions there? So what does this become? We can transform that into our binomial square, hence completing the square. I just completed the square. Now we're solving those very basic equations in our right? So b plus 1 equals, notice taking the square root, plus or minus 3. Remember doing this stuff? b equals negative 1 plus or minus 3. So our answers come out to be negative 1 plus 3, which is 2. And negative 1 minus 3 becomes negative 4. Let's go back up to our very beginning really quick. If I factored this, this would be b plus 4. Come on, you little stinker. B might. Right? What value makes those guys 0? Negative 4 and 2. Look, it's a whole different way to get the same answer. Kind of cool, huh? Okay. Let's do a harder one, shall we? Alex, thanks for laughing at me. I feel comfortable about it. I'm okay with myself. I can giggle. It was a good turnabout, huh? Not as pretty. What's different about this guy? We have a number out in front. Ladies and gentlemen, do not complete the square unless it's a 1. How can I make that a 1? Divide everything by 2, which is the same thing as timesing everything by a half. Okay, so I could times it by something equal to a half. But I'm going to divide everything by 2. If I do it to one side, do it to the other. Right? Any questions there? Yes, sir. Well, you could, but don't do that. I wouldn't. So I'm left with q squared plus 3q minus a half equals 0. Is that a perfect square trinomial? We don't like what number? The half, he's the son of a monkey. Let's get him to the other side. Okay? Is it okay just to get everything to the other side? You're welcome. No, as long as I do it to both sides, I'm still okay, right? Okay? What fills the blank? This one's a little tricky. Not 9. 9 fourths. Because this is, remember, this is some number being doubled. So how have you been figuring out what number it is? You've been dividing this number by, don't you dare give me that. Okay, what's this number? We need to take him by half. What's half of 3? 3 half. Okay?
Same value.
I would agree. Now, why do you like decimals more than fractions? Just tell me why. Why do you think? You want to know why? You see them on the number line. Would you guys agree that's more the reasoning why you like decimals than fractions? But why am I teaching you always to stay in fractions? Teaching it because of your higher stakes test. I'll be honest. Your ACT doesn't want you to use decimals, and that's all you know how to do. You're right? So if I teach you this, and if you can, people can always go from a fraction to a decimal very quickly. You guys do it all the darn time. But can you do it without that? That's something you need to do. Once again, take in the half. Half is 3 halves. So what needs to fill this blank? 3 halves squared, right? Which is 9 fourths. What I add to one side, what do I got to do to the other? Anybody have a question on how I got that? Yes, no, maybe so. Once again, if you recall from our previous things, take half of him and then square it, right? Take half and square it. Okay, so what does this side become? That's our ninth perfect trinomial squared. Perfect. Yeah. So this guy's just q plus 3 halves, huh? I told you. Then I want to add this side. What's a half plus 9 fourths? Because this guy is the same thing as 2 fourths, would you guys agree? Using common denominator. So this guy is the same thing as 11 fourths. Once again, everything's not pretty in this world. Sometimes you gotta play with ugly numbers. That's why we give the dog, the steak around the kid next to the dog will play. Yeah. No problem. Can we go back to another example really quick? Because I think that might help you. Remember, how did I get this 1? Took half of it. What's half of 2? And what's 1 squared? 1. So let's come back to our answer. Remember, you always just cut this guy in half. Okay, because remember our pattern, from our binomial squared to there, we doubled that in number, right? So here, taking this number, half of 3 is 3 halves. Then I have to square it to fill this to complete the square. Make sense? So remember what numbers are giving me these two? 3 halves. Always cut that guy in half. All right. Now, how do I get rid of a square? Once again, I'm physically taking a square root, so what do we need to do? Plus or minus. Yes, no, maybe so. Okay, so I'm at 2 plus 3 half equals plus or minus root 11 over 2, because what's the square root of 4? Square root of 4 is 2, isn't it? Ladies and gentlemen, how do I get 2 by itself? Minus it, right? If they have a common denominator, can I just add the tops together? So if you'll see, this is a perfect segue into our next lesson. What actually does that kind of look like if you put it in that? Quadratic. That's what we're about to do now. Quadratic form in this case, it's a plug and chug. You guys ever know where quadratic formula came from? You don't have to write this down. As soon as you guys get down, you'll see where it comes from. Somebody who was a math god and figured it out, though. It's actually pretty cool. I wonder if it wasn't around. I'm gonna try to figure it out. You know, there's a guy. There's like $8 million problems in math. If you can solve it and prove it, like you can prove it. You can actually physically prove it with mathematics, and like other people look through it and say, yeah, that makes sense, or whatever, right? You get $1 million. And this guy found one that he didn't want to recognize. He just wanted to keep doing that. That $1 million. He denied $1 million. So you guys ready to see where? Okay. Do you guys agree this is the form that we call every quadratic? Ax squared plus bx plus c. You guys have seen that in the past, right? Right? You do not have to write this down. I would even suggest you write this down because just follow me. Okay? I'm going to show you where the quadratic formula comes from. And it was from the previous lesson. I'm going to complete the square on this. Okay, with these values. So here's what we got. What number do I always want here? 1. So this is x squared plus b over a x plus c over a. Make sense there? Because I only want 1 there to complete the square root. Is that what I just said about the previous example, right? What's half of b over a? B over 2a. If I square it, do I get b over a? No. So let's get rid of him just like we would in the past. Okay. So once again, half of this guy is b over 2a. Okay. And so remember, what would I do with that? B over 2a, I would square him to get to this third thing. Right? You guys really think about it, I'm just telling you how to do every single problem when you're doing it. Take this term, cut him in half, square it. So that's b over 2a is b squared over 4a squared. Okay? What I do to one side, I got to do to the other. Plus b squared over 4a squared. Let's quickly get a common denominator over here. This guy wants a 4 and another a, doesn't it? A 4 and another a. Okay? Now notice they have a common denominator, so I can make that together and say that's b squared minus 4ac all over 4a squared. Questions there? Okay, this over here is now a perfect square trinomial, right? How do we put that into a squared thing? Take him in half. That's x plus b over 2a squared. How do I get rid of the squared? Square root. When I take a square root, I need to do plus or minus. So I am here at x plus b over 2a equals plus or minus square root of b squared minus 4ac. What's the square root of 4? What's the square root of a squared? Right there. And I want to solve for x, so what do? X equals negative b over 2a plus or minus square root of b squared minus 4ac all over 2a. They have a common denominator, don't they? So what can we do? X equals negative b plus or minus square root of b squared minus 4ac all over 2a. That's where it comes from. Pretty cool, isn't it? Sometimes just the things that somebody in the past could think of, in my opinion, is like, right? And that's why this will solve any equation, because completing the square will solve every equation. That's why you can't factor, you go to this. Now, me personally, I'd rather plug and chug than actually have to complete the square. Right? Wouldn't any of you guys? You guys remember doing this stuff? Okay. How many of you guys remember this formula, though, that you could do it blind without me even telling you? Okay. I'm going to make you sing with me. And I know you don't want to. I know you don't want to. The day I learned this for the very first time, my teacher dressed in a freaking weasel suit. Because she made us sing this, the Papa of the Weasel. I'm not joking like 100 times. Okay? All I'm asking you guys is seriously do it once with me. And sing it actually with me. Every time I'm freaking, I've done how I'm 37 now. Anyway, I haven't really said that yet, but anyway, I've done this since I was 16 years old. So that's 21 years, and I still sing it every time I put it on the board because it's just there, right? So, and you guys can do whatever you want to do, but I guarantee if you sing it, you'll never forget it. And you will have to memorize it for yourself. If you'll partake upon me, please. Okay, here we go. X equals negative b plus or minus square root of b squared minus 4ac all over 2. And you got to get that weasel coming up. Okay, back in the box, right? Okay, so ladies and gentlemen, did I not just do this problem just a minute ago? Was it this? Once again, could we factor this if we wanted? I'm doing this. We're going to do it here. This is 8-2, by the way. 8-2. Okay. Remember, could we factor this? Factors of 8 to give me to be 2 is 4 and 2, right? Remember how we went? This is x plus 4, x minus 2 equals 8. We got the answer to be x equals negative 4 and 2. Did we complete the square on this problem? What answers did we get? Same thing. So let's do it the third way. Okay, we're going to do the quadratic form. You got a question? Okay. So once again, x equals negative b plus or minus square root of b squared minus 4ac all over 2a. Okay, that's what we're going to be using. But I need to know who's my a, b, and c. Who's my a? 1. Who's my b? Who's my c? Everybody understand where I found my a, b, and c? Ladies and gentlemen, it's time to plug in and chug. That's all this is a plug and chug now, isn't it? Okay, you're going to plug the answers in. Me personally, anytime I plug an answer in, I put it in parentheses so that I don't lose a negative or something. Does that make sense to everyone? Why? So, somebody, how many of your teachers said negative b? Did they say opposite b? Did they say opposite b in the past? Okay, and that could be the same thing. Opposite negative is negative, negative. Okay, so here we go. X equals negative 2 plus or minus square root of 2 squared. I should have put that first. I apologize. 2 squared minus 4ac all over 2 times a. Plug. Now I get a chug. You like the chug? Whoa, 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 whoa. There, yes. Don't need that. You're a smart girl. You don't believe me, but I believe you. Okay, what's 2 squared? 4 minus 4 times 1. 4 times negative 8. Negative 32. So really that becomes a plus 32, which then adds on the same 36. Does everybody agree with me on that? Negative 2 plus or minus square root of 36 all over 2. So once again, we like to just see square roots in there that can be simplified. Hence why we've learned all this other stuff before we do this stuff. Like they have a connection going on. Okay? Negative 2 plus or minus square root of 36 is all over. What do all those guys have in common? 2. By the way, this is x equals negative 1 plus or minus 3. That's it. And then that is negative 1 plus 3 is 2. Negative 1 minus 3 is? Oh my gosh, we found the same answers 3 different ways.
And then this would be a
You're not, well, we didn't have to start from the square root. So we should be good. Okay? Fun times, huh? Now, on your test, there's going to be ways I'm going to say you need to solve by factoring. You need to solve by completing the square. You need to solve by quadratic formula. Then I'm going to give you a section. You can solve by any method you want. What's my first choice on every time? Me personally is factoring, because I'm a quick factor. Okay, my second choice is quadratic formula, because it's a plug and sub. My third choice is completing the square, because it's just hell and I don't want it. But it can be used, especially when we get into the 1050, which you guys are supposedly doing. Okay, so we do another one?
Yes, Mr. Roberts, this is the best lesson of our lives.
I'm like, yeah, that's what I do. I teach good stuff.
We're just practicing. I'm going to get a good one. Well, a quadratic formula can be harder just for the fact that it doesn't always come out pretty, right? All right. So, earlier, we were getting everything with p squared by itself, correct? Or anything with the squared by itself. Right? You guys agree with that? Now, do I want to do it in this form? No, and the reason being is because I have a p as well. Now, if it was just p squared minus 1, I would get the p squared by itself, divide the 3, take the square root, have a joyous time. Okay? But here, because I have that third term, I got to get everything on one side. Does it matter what side you get it on? It doesn't whatsoever. Yes.
Are you going to go to the math people?
Yes.
We do.
You actually are?
Mm-hmm.
I convinced him to get some good food.
What kind?
I told him to get panda.
Oh, yeah. Okay, well, do this.
We're going to learn about panda today. Yeah. It's actually pretty cool. Some things that I have no idea about. And then I'm like, oh, that looks nice. Like you guys do every day when I right, Ash? Ash, which way do you want to solve this? I'll do it any way you want to do. I can't factor it if it doesn't factor. You want to complete the square? Yeah. That's what I want you to do. This I could do by, I'll do it this way. This is uncool. Let's do quadratic. Who's my A? 3. Oh. Who's my B? Negative 6. Who's my C? 1. Okay. Important. Make sure. Okay, anyone sing with me? Me and you? Just me and you? Are you embarrassed? I don't like to sing, but look at me. One time. Do you sing it in your head? Oh. Do you have it memorized? I know. Did they sing? Who was it? Because singing's fun. There's actually another one. It goes to a rap contest.
I'm sure never have.
Because she doesn't want to sing. I had to go into many classes after in the learning. Look at that. That's like a big cotton ball. Okay, here we go. X equals negative 6 becomes, okay, plus or minus square root b squared, negative 6 squared, 36. You guys know that's the biggest thing most people miss is that number right there. Because especially when it's negative, what do some people put? Negative 36. If you guys put in your calculator negative 6 squared, guess what it'll tell you? Negative 36 because you didn't put it in correctly. How do you put it in? Parentheses, negative 6 squared. Does that make sense to everybody? It can never, because it's squared.
So
That's
never
the key
even
thing.
bother.
But why would this never, ever be negative? Why? It's squared. It's squared. It's squared. No number can ever be negative when it's squared. None. And if you can find one, you might get $1 million. Because health I can find one. Okay? Except I squared, I guess. That's the only one. I'll shut up. Okay. Onward. Minus 4, A. 3, C. 1. So me, I have 36 minus 24. Or isn't it? 12. Okay, all over 2A, which is 6. I'm getting some personality out of you guys now. Fine, damn quarters. Still haven't got Mark yet. Mark's like, you ain't getting in. Square root of 36 minus 12 is 24 all over 6. But what can we do with the 24? Simplify. Oh, yeah. Was it? Ben? I think I'm okay. Yes? Did you get everything? Did you personally get it on the other side? That's completely fine though. If you went to the other side, did you do that? Okay, that's completely fine. I'll show you the difference. Okay? I'll show you exactly what you guys have. Okay, so we can break him down. What's in 24? 6 and 4, 2 and 2. There's my buddies. 6 has 2 and 3. There's no buddies in it, right? So I have 6 plus or minus 2 root 6 all over 6. Now, question. Can I see how this guy is a 6 to 6 and he's a 6 underneath? Can you simplify things that are outside with the things inside of the radical? No, that is a common mistake. Do not let that happen. Okay, only if they're on the outside. Boom, boom, boom. What do they all have in common? 2. So, you have 3 plus or minus root 6 over 3. Now, you guys that did it the other way, you would have negative 3 plus or minus root 6 over negative 3. Is that what you ended up with? Are they the same? Yes, they are. Let me show you the things you want. What does this number, and this number all have in common? A negative. What's negative 3 divided by negative 3? I mean, let's do negative 3 divided by negative 1. Comes out to be 3. What is a positive root 6 divided by negative 3? I mean, negative 1. Negative 1. It becomes the negative. What's a negative divided by a negative 1? Becomes a positive. Plus or minus will always just come back to a plus or minus because you're just doing the opposite of that. Does that make sense to everybody? So then you still have root 6, but what is negative 3 divided by negative 1? And that's why they're still the same. Now, would I mark you down for this? No, but I prefer not to have negatives in my. Does that answer your question? And could you see how both of us were right, though? Yeah. Everybody see how he did it? He went ahead and at the top, he decided to just get him over to this side because it's long. Right? Is everybody there? Okay, and I told you guys I'd do this by completing the square. This will be our last example. Was that 60? Was there a minus 1 or a plus 1? Okay, once again, what's the problem with completing the square on this side? I think completing the square is going to be your hardest thing today. Just because that's something takes a little bit more thinking than just plug and check. Now, can you guys have in a quadratic formula imaginary numbers come out? Yeah, you can. Be aware of that. Quadratic formula gives us every answer, whether it be imaginary or not. Oh, this is a 0. So I cannot do complete square with that 3 then. What do I need to do? Divide everything through, right? P squared minus 2p plus a third equals 0. Does that third help us complete the square? So where do I need to get him? Other side. What number will fill the blank? 1. How did I find that? I cut him in half and then I squared him. What I do to one side? Do to the other. Any questions there? This then becomes on this side a perfect square trinomial, so he is e minus 1. Why is he minus and not plus? Because this is a negative number in the middle. Right? Half of negative 2 is negative 1, technically, right? How do I get rid of the squares? Square root. Remember to do your plus or minus because you physically took it, correct? So I have plus or minus square root of 2 over the square root of 3. But what do we not like down here? Square root of 3. So what do I need to do? Rationalize it by timesing by square root of 3 top and bottom. I think you're seeing why completing the square is wrong. Right? Because it's more thought process than just nums taking plug and stuff. Right? P minus 1 equals plus or minus root 6 over 3. How do I get that 1 over? Add it. Get a common denominator. Hence 3 plus or minus root 6 over. Same result, right? Completing the square and the quadratic formula will work for every single situation. Okay? You will be able to solve that anytime. All right? How do we do? Still all right? Now, notice we only went over 2 quadratic formulas, but I believe it's pretty simple just to plug and chug into that. More completing the square is more. Yes. I don't think so. I would not, but at the same time, I like to see if I have 2 things that I'm going to fraction, one fraction, maybe. Okay, let's hurry and look. Sorry. Page what is 8081? It's in the back. Sorry. I'm getting there. 81 is on page 689. You're doing 1 through 1 through. 1 through. I don't like those problems, so I gotta check. 1 through. 25. Odd. 8-2. You are doing 37 through. I'm just trying to see. It's on 691. I apologize, guys. I should have had this ready. 57 odd, and then do 67 as well. It's a story problem. Okay, thanks, guys. Sorry it took so long. Good lesson today. You guys did really well. Thanks for not wanting to sing, but you did anyway.